And now it's my pleasure to introduce to you Micah McCarty, former tribal chair of the Makah Nation and member of NOAA's Marine Fisheries Advisory Committee.
I'd like to thank the organizers of this event. This is a vital pathway for our future. I believe it's a critical path that we're all on here together. This is a critical path that knows no race, no other demographic differences, does not know our gender gaps, our generation gaps, I meant. This is a human planet thing and how we live with the earth. I think the House bill is one important step to move forward in a more responsible future, a more responsible way of living. And I think that there's a whole world of things that we can do to reprogram what we're already doing and what we're already spending for. While in tribal government, I was looking at our indirect costs of running our programs and other essential functions of government. And I realized that, at least for the Makah tribe, we had an electric bill of $300,000 a year. We closed an open dump and opened up a transfer station. And the new budget for waste management for the Makah community is about $500,000. So what I was looking at is a $300,000 electric bill for the Makah Tribal Council, and then another budget that we pay for in municipal services, and that's waste management. And I was looking at various technologies to integrate a waste energy solution as an act of self-governance. Because one of the biggest things that we're facing in the bottleneck of alternatives is the economy of scale and the pressures on new money. But if we can look at how we reprogram what we're already spending for and redirect that into cooperatives, then we can start to see the manifestation of these solutions that we need. And we also need a lot more curriculum for interdisciplinary education, so that if somebody wants to become an ocean energy project leader, they need to know a little bit of meteorology. They need to know a little bit about oceanography and ocean biography. Need to know about some kinetic energy, and also need to understand about manufacturing of electricity. So what we can really do is to pour all of these new ideas into curriculum so that we can start to groom our successors, because the solutions we think of today will only be enhanced by the next generation. And so I just wanted to share a quick little story on how important this really is. And I want to share an analogy that we are all a part of the hydrological cycle. Who knows how much water is in our bodies? How much percentage of water makes up our weight in our bodies? About 99%. So we carry water in our bodies. And we're probably carrying some of the same water molecules that all of our ancestors, our collective ancestors, have carried at their time. So we're connected by a lot of things, but most importantly, we're connected by water. There's a story I was told a long time ago about the Great Flood. There was this island that became smaller and smaller. It used to be a mountaintop until the floodwaters rose. And all the animals were getting crowded, and they felt a sense of panic. And like a flash of energy through their nervous systems, they cried out spontaneously in unity to the Lord for salvation. The Creator heard that unified cry, and the Creator allowed the water to rise up around in a cylinder of water. So these animals were trapped inside a circular wall of water. All the animals were given a message by the Creator that the herbivores, the meat eaters, and the plant eaters had to live in unity while they were trapped in that water cylinder. And what they were told is that the meat eaters have to leave the herbivores alone, so they have to live in harmony while they're trapped. And as long as they lived in harmony while they were trapped, they could safely reach into the wall of water and pull fish for the meat eaters and pull seaweed for the herbivores. It's a lesson that I think has a lot of relevance to what we're facing right now. I think a lot of people have a hard time understanding some of the effects of ocean acidification and climate change. I mean, we're seeing some really disastrous things where species are chasing warmer, or they're running away from warmer waters, and they're heading north and south. And the way our atmosphere is stretched around the equator, the ceiling of our atmosphere is higher around the equator. And just like indoor smoke, the carbon emissions that have been emitted since the beginning of the industrial age doesn't leave our atmosphere. And it gets concentrated at the ceilings, and so we see ocean acidification concentrated at the poles. And so that's where the worst of what we're seeing, and it's a 40-year cycle. So what we're seeing in the ocean right now is based on 40 years of carbon emissions that have accumulated over time. And so we have a really, really tough job ahead of ourselves. And I think we can do this together and remember that we all have ancestors in common. And so while we think about grooming our successors and how do we teach our young ones to become good ancestors, what does it mean to keep the living breath of our ancestors alive? It's the values that we learn to live with Earth. It's the values we learn to live with the human ecology. I'm going to share an ancestor song that was shared by one of my cousins for all of the ocean-going canoe families. And we can think about our collective ancestors and how we can become better ancestors while we listen to this song. Ya na 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 ya na na ya na hey ya na Sisika Dax ya na ya na hey ya na Sisika Dax ya na ya na hey ya na ya na Sure. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. McCarty. And I think we all can think back to our ancestors who left us with something. And while he was singing that song, I was contemplating what my ancestors have left behind for me. And when I was a little girl, there was a stream in Virginia that ran through our backyard. And there was a little tin cup that belonged to my great-great-grandmother. And she left it there at that stream in a little cement box where we could all drink from that stream. And it came off of our property from the Appalachian Mountains. So I hope everybody is contemplating that, and I hope our legislators contemplate what we are going to be leaving behind and seriously vote on 1314. Thank you again, Mr. McCarty.